Let me first and foremost commend you for this laudable initiative, for having launched this very important book. Honestly, I'm really disappointed in this country, if I must say. I would like to continue from where Prof. Ended his speech, although I must also commend the other speakers for very insightful presentations. The question most people ask about this country is, where did we get it wrong? Where did we get it wrong? In those days, in our growing ups, we had it very good. After my speech, in fact, the convener will give me some time because the patient dog is the fattest bone. I'm going to be showing you three video clips to tell you about the experiences of some of my friends, in those days, what we went through in those days growing up. It's just 3 video clips, about 3-4 minutes each. When we talk about ethics, what do we mean? For me, ethics started from creation. For those of you that are Christians and Muslims and whatever faith you practice, it started from the Garden of Eden. When God instructed Adam, or perhaps both of them, and Eve, not to eat the forbidden fruit. But of course, they disobeyed God and ate it. And that is the problem we are facing today. That is the problem we are facing today. And that's why we are not getting it right. So look at the history, look at the trajectory of history, of where we are coming from, at creations of God. We have missed it. I was expecting some of the speakers to also say certain things about them in terms of what we are trying to preach. You do what you preach. But I didn't hear any one of them said anything about that. And I'm going to start from myself. I was born by a washerman, now late. He passed on in 1988. A washerman, not a dry cleaner. Today we call them dry cleaners. An illiterate and a stark illiterate who painstakingly, very hardworking, very resolute, very determined about his life. He was going from house to house to pick dirty clothes to wash for people. Iron. Sometimes he brought them home to come and wash. And by the grace of God, from that sweat, he was able to build a house in Surulere in Lagos. Face me and face you, about 10 rooms of 15 rooms with a boys' quarter. My mother was Iyayelewa Agoyin. I'm not here alone. I have my 2 children here. They are undergraduates. They are seated there. I brought them purposely to come and listen. That what I tell them at home is what I tell people outside. And by the grace of God, he passed on in 1988, as I said. He educated me, but he got to a point before he passed on and said, hey, young man, I won't be able to sponsor you anymore. You have to take up the challenge. I took up the challenge. And by the grace of God, I'm a graduate today. a master's holder, a professional in various fields of endeavor, a very disciplined person. When I finished my primary education in 1975, if a classmate of mine came to my house and told me there was a way we can make money, and he asked me if I can get some money, and I was asking myself, where do you want me to get money at that age, tender age, primary school, graduate? That he can make money. How? You are not CBN. So how can you do it? I was a little bit afraid. I said, I hope this boy will not put me into trouble. In fact, it was myself and another cousin of mine. He's in Port Harcourt. We have our own room. Our house in Surulere is 4 bungalows. We were occupying one of the rooms. He came. His name is Zamba. I don't know whether he's still alive or something. He told us that he can do it. I said, okay, no problem. Let's see what the magic we wanted to perform. He went, he came back, brought some chemicals. In my life, I never knew what the money was made of in terms of the various materials or ingredients. But today I know it's made up of fiber, cotton, and some chemicals. He brought those things to us. And right in our room, he made a little money, a currency, paper. Incidentally, we had a mercury light in our room, and he showed us. And we put it under the mercury. Behold, all the features were shown. I said, what is this? Okay, no problem. Just go, we'll talk about it. He went, he left. My cousin and I went to our main sitting room. We sat down. I said, oh boy. We looked at ourselves and said, where will this take us to? Look at our parents. They are struggling. Where do we get the money to buy and the chemical? Very expensive. Even at that time and even now. Very, very expensive. Stylishly, we asked him to go. What am I trying to preach? Discipline. What am I trying to preach? Contentment. Are we disciplined in this country? Are we contented? A lot of speakers have said something about starting from our parents. What kind of parents do you have? What kind of moral values do you have? What are your family values? What are your culture? Why are you created? Have you asked yourself, why are you created? What is the purpose of your creation in this life? Is this to steal, to destroy, to make people cry? I'll give you another example. My daughter, they are here. Their senior is in Canada today. When she was in secondary school, Paysetters College, she was a day student. She took one of my wristwatches. In the morning, she usually, leave for school before I leave. She left, and I was looking for this particular wristwatch. I didn't see it on the television. We were still using those television those days. I couldn't find it. I asked the mother, I'm looking for this wristwatch, where is it? She said she couldn't find it too. She doesn't know who took it. In this house, is there another spirit living with us in this room? I was so mad. The following day, the wristwatch appeared. I said, what is this? Something must happen. The person must show up. And luckily, my daughter came around and said, Daddy, yes, I took it. I must tell you, don't say I am crude. Don't say I am crude. I gave her a dirty slap, and blood was rushing out of her mouth. The mother couldn't take it. She was afraid that I wanted to kill her daughter. Yes, for every action, there must be a reaction. That was how I was trained. That was how I was trained. And therefore, I must also enforce it to my children. You know what I did? Guess what I did? That same day, the next day, I took her to where I bought that same wristwatch, CD Plaza. I think it was about 25,000 naira. And I bought it for her. And I warned her, never in your life take something that does not belong to you. I'm sorry, you have to give me time. Don't take something that does not belong to you. I'm telling you today, I won't tell you the stories. Now, what am I trying to say? Just to ride on what Prof said, I'm still afraid whether we're going to get it. How do we get out of this? We said we build a nation, just like Prof said, with institutions. We don't have institutions in this country. First and foremost, I would have expected what this gentleman did, national orientation. What is their role? National Orientation Agency, what is their role in this country? They get budget every year. Where do they expend it on? Or what do they expend it on? I would have expected to collaborate with this very good initiative on Democracy Day like this, to continue to reorient our minds, bring out the best moral values in us. Nigeria Customs Service, where are they? Nigeria Standard Organization, where are they? I just undertook a trip for a burial ceremony in Togo, Lomé, 2 weeks ago. When we got to the border, there were about 17 checkpoints before you get to Semi border.